Good evening, and welcome back to At the School of Gra. I hope you enjoyed the last episode. Today, we apply the standards. I Can Fix It Historical Application. Measuring the record. The February 2026 strikes, subsequent actions, and claims of decision-making pressure. Section 1. Bridge and restatement of the locked baseline. The factual baseline is locked. On February 28, 2026, the United States and Israel launched coordinated military strikes against targets inside Iran. The United States named its portion Operation Epic Fury. Israel named its portion Operation Roaring Lion. President Trump announced a major combat operation and a massive and ongoing campaign. He stated the goals were to defend the American people by eliminating imminent threats from the Iranian regime, destroy Iran's missiles and missile industry, ensure Iran could never attain a nuclear weapon, and called on the Iranian people to overthrow their government. Public reports stated that the strikes hit multiple locations, including sites in and around Tehran, military and missile infrastructure, and command facilities. Reports also stated that the Iranian Supreme Leader Ali Khamenei and other senior figures were killed. Iran responded with missile and drone attacks directed at Israel and at locations in Gulf countries hosting U.S. forces. In the weeks that followed, the conflict continued. The Strait of Hormuz was disrupted or closed. U.S. service members were reported killed beginning in early March. Additional strikes were continued against Iranian military, naval, and infrastructure targets. The conflict expanded regionally. On March 17, 2026, Joe Kent, director of the National Counterterrorism Center, resigned. In his public letter, he stated that Iran posed no imminent threat to the United States and that the war began due to pressure from Israel and its powerful American lobby. He alleged a misinformation campaign by high-ranking Israeli officials and members of the American media. In later comments, he stated that he and other officials were not allowed to present concerns directly to the president and that there had not been a robust debate. Yeah. That ought to burns me up. The White House rejected the claims, stating that the president had strong and compelling evidence without showing, of an imminent threat. That is the complete documented record. Today, we share it against all 5 standards with full detail. Section 2, Standard 1, the evidentiary standard. The evidentiary standard requires that major claims be tested against the actual strength, the evidence available, not against authority, confidence, or repetition. 2 central competing claims sit at the center of this record. Claim 1, the administration's stated justification. Iran posed an imminent threat that required the launch of major combat operations on February 28, 26. Yeah. Just for the record, February 28, 2026. Claim 2, the formal statement of the director of the National Counterterrorism Center. Iran posed no imminent threat to the United States, and the decision was driven by pressure from Israel and the powerful American lobby. Under the evidentiary standard, we examine only what the public record supplies. The administration has stated that strong and compelling evidence exists. No detailed, declassified intelligence package establishing imminence at the moment of decision has been released to the public. The specific indicators, timelines, and sourcing that would allow independent verification of the imminent threat claim remain classified. Hang on just a second, sorry. The specific indicators, timelines, and sourcing that would allow independent verification of the imminent threat claim remain classified. The director of the National Counterterrorism Center, whose statutory role is the integration and assessment of terrorism-related intelligence across the U.S. government, formally declared that the evidence did not support an imminent threat. He further stated that high-ranking Israeli officials and media figures advanced a misinformation campaign and that dissenting assessments were not fully permitted to reach the president. When the official charged with providing the president the best integrated counterterrorism assessment publicly disputes the central justification of war, evidentiary standard requires that this formal dissent be weighed with full seriousness. The standard does not automatically accept either claim. It records that the detailed evidence supporting It records that the detailed evidence supporting the administrator's assertion of imminence has not been made available for public examination. While the principal counterterrorism official has placed a formal public contradiction on the record, that is the measurement under Standard 1. Standard 3, Section 3, Standard 2, the household test. Man, can y'all tell I'm burning up yet? Can you tell? Can you tell? The household test asks what a decision costs ordinary American households and the long-term capacity of the country. Military action of this scale carries immediate and deferred costs that fall on the people who pay the bills and live with the results. Documenting costs already visible in the record. 1. American service members killed beginning in early March 2026. 2. Continued expenditure of national resources on the open-ended regional conflict. 3. Disruption of the Strait of Hormuz, a critical artery for global energy supplies with direct effects on fuel prices and economic stability that reach American households. 4. The opportunity cost of resources directed into sustained combat operations rather than domestic priorities. Kent framed his resignation in precisely these household terms. He wrote that he could not support sending the next generation to fight and die in a war that, in his assessment, served no benefit to the American people and did not justify the cost of American lives. Yeah. No, y'all go ahead and go over here. Yeah. Yeah. We got you. No, at Super Dave 3348's in the studio. I'm out on location solo. Okay. Sorry. I apologize. Kent framed his resignation in precisely this household terms. He wrote that he could not support sending the next generation to fight and die in a war that, in his assessment, served no benefit to the American people and did not justify the cost of American lives. He linked the judgment to his own experience as a combat veteran who deployed 11 times and as a Gold Star husband. The household test does not require acceptance or rejection of his conclusion. It requires that the claimed security benefit be placed against the concrete costs already borne and still accumulating. Lives, treasure, energy price vitality, and the long-term stability of the country's position. When the officials responsible for counterterrorism analysis states that those costs are not justified by the threat, the household test demands that this assessment be examined rather than set aside. When the official responsible for counterterrorism analysis states that those costs are not justified by the threat, the household test demands that this assessment be examined rather than set aside. That is the measurement under Standard 2. Section 4, Standard 3, Transparency as Structure. Sorry. You know it burns me up. You know it burns me up. I don't know how y'all take it. I do not know how y'all take it. Other podcasts out there, what y'all do, edit y'all stuff and just redo it until you got a perfect one. I can't do it. I think we the people need to know. It blurs my eyes. I get some tears to my eyes. We got people moving around. I don't know how they do it. I don't know how they do it. We don't do it here. We keep it truth, clarity, plus that propaganda, let you know how it affects real lives, real people, what's going on here. Transparency as structure requires information needed to test a claim be available while decisions can still be influenced. Kent stated after his resignation that he and other senior officials with concerns were not allowed to present those concerns directly to the president, and there had not been a robust debate. If accurate, this describes a decision process in which dissenting assessments from the government's own counterterrorism leadership were excluded at the decisive moment. Transparency as a structure is not satisfied by later public statements or post-decision explanations. It, as we the people, requires that the relevant assessments, including dissenting ones, be available to the decision maker while the choice is still open. The public record currently contains Kent's formal assertion that this did not occur. The administration has not released a detailed accounting of which assessments were presented, which were withheld, and on what basis, or how the claim of imminent threat was weighed against contrary internal views. Until that fuller, more complete record is available, the transparency standard registers a significant structural gap. The principal counterterrorism official has stated that the process did not permit the full range of internal assessments to reach the president in time. The same gap applies to the detailed intelligence that the administration cites as justifying the strikes. Without public release or independent verification of the specific evidence of events, citizens cannot test the central claim while the consequences continue to unfold. That is the measurement under Standard 3. Section 5, Standard 4, Accountability without permission. Accountability without permission requires that consequences for failure or serious disagreement do not depend solely on the goodwill of the same actors who hold power. In this case, the accountability mechanism that operated was personal resignation. Kent chose to leave rather than continue in a role that required him to support a policy he just judged unjustified. Resignation is a form of accountability, but it is individual rather than structural. It places the cost on the official who dissents rather than on the decision process itself. The record shows no automatic independent review triggered by the formal break between the director of the National Counterterrorism Center and the justification for the war. The system absorbed the resignation and continued the operation. Under Standard 4, we observe that the primary consequence was the departure of the dissenting official, not an independent examination of the decision process that produced the disagreement. No structural mechanism forced a public reconciliation of the competing claims about imminence or about the role of external pressure. That is the measurement under Standard 4. Section 6, Standard 5, New Ground. Standard 5 asks whether the incentives that shape decisions about the use of military force have been replaced or remain dominant. The creation of the National Counterterrorism Center after 9/11 was itself an attempt to change incentives, to force better integration of intelligence so that the threat assessments would be more complete and less siloed. Kent's resignation raises the question of whether the incentives surrounding the decision to use force have shifted. If the process can move forward while the principal counterterrorism official concludes that the evidence does not support the central claim of imminent threat, and if dissenting assessments are not fully heard, then the incentives that reward decisive action over rigorous internal challenge remain powerful. The public record does not yet show structural changes that would make it more costly to proceed without full internal contestation of the evidence than to pause and examine it. The same incentive structure that historically favored rapid military commitment continues to operate. That is the measurement under Standard 5. Section 7, full synthesis with specific documented data. We now have applied all 5 standards to the complete documented record. Here is the synthesis with the specific public data attached to each measurement. And I apologize again. I do want to be clear and try not to unjustify. I do apologize. We the people deserve the best. Nothing else will do. And so far, nobody else has decided to take this up. So I apologize, but I promise you, I'm doing the best I can without editing and giving you a one shot at it. Evidentiary standard. The director of the National Counterterrorism Center formally disputed the central claim. On March 17, 2026, 18 days after the February 28 strikes began, Joe Kent stated in his public resignation letter, Iran posed no imminent threat to our nation, and it is clear that we started this war due to pressure from Israel and its powerful American lobby. The administration responded that President Trump possessed strong and compelling evidence of an imminent threat. No detailed, declassified package of that evidence has been released for public examination. The record, therefore, contains a formal contradiction from principal counterterrorism official alongside an assertion of evidence that remains largely unavailable for independent testing. Household test. Concrete costs were already accumulating by the date of the resignation. The conflict began February 28, 2026. By early March, 6 U.S. service members were killed in the Iranian drone attack at Port Shuaba, Kuwait, March 1st. Additional U.S. deaths followed in subsequent days, with public tallies reaching 13 U.S. military fatalities by mid-March. The Strait of Hormuz, a critical artery for global oil transit, was disrupted or closed, producing immediate effects on energy prices that reach American households. Resources continue to be expended on the open-ended regional campaign. Kent explicitly tied his resignation to these household costs, writing that he could not support sending the next generation off to die in a war that serves no benefit to American people, nor justifies the cost of American lives. Transparency as structure. Kent stated that he and other senior officials were not allowed to present dissenting assessments directly to the president, and that there had not been a robust debate. The public record contains no contemporaneous accounting of which internal assessments reached the decision maker, which were withheld, or how the claim of imminent threat was weighed against contrary views before February 28th order was given. Transparency, therefore, operated largely as a post-decision disclosure rather than a structural requirement at the moment of choice. Accountability without permission. The primary mechanism that operated was individual resignation on March 17th. No automatic, independent review of the decision process was triggered by the formal break between the Director of National Counterterrorism Center and the justification for war. The system absorbed the resignation and operation continued. New ground. 18 days into the conflict, the incentives that reward rapid military commitment over full internal contestation of the evidence remained intact. The public record does not show structural changes that would have made it more costly to proceed without complete internal challenge than to pause and examine the competing assessments. Overall picture from the data. The sequence is concrete. Coordinated strikes launched February 28th under the claim of imminent threat. 18 days later, the government's own top counterterrorism official publicly rejected that claim and attributed the decision to external pressure. By that date, American lives had already been lost and a major energy choke point disrupted. The detailed evidence supporting the original claim remained unreleased, and accountability rested on personal resignation rather than independent structural review. These are the results of measuring the public record against fixed standards. They are not final political conclusions. They are the product of the method applied to the specific documented facts. In closing, we have questions for the audience, and we hope they reach we the people. 1. When the official charged with integrating counterterrorism intelligence publicly disputes the central justification for war, what level of evidence should be required before the claim of imminent threat is accepted as settled? Things that definitely make you go, And y'all, again, form the groups over here after. Just like when you was in school. Flashback. Okay. Question 2. How should the cost already borne by American households and service members be weighed when that same official judges them unjustified? That's another great question. Question 3. What does it mean for transparency if dissenting assessments from within counterterrorism leadership are not fully heard before the decision is made? I mean, for real. I mean, you know this. Who does that in their regular life? Who does that? Blind leading the blind. What are they saying? This is America. Our standards are number one. And y'all say they are, but yeah. We got people qualified to assess. We think, sorry, I apologize. We think Joe is. Question 4. What structural changes would be required so that accountability does not rest primarily on individual resignation? Yeah, let's quit losing the good ones, people. Let's quit letting the ones that want to do the right thing go. Question 5. Have the incentives that shape decisions about foreign military commitments actually changed, or do they remain largely continuous with the prior path? Now, that kind of is, I think we're all that. It's almost like we're in woke 3.0. I mean, what's going on here? The record has been measured in full. Every standard has been applied without omission. The tool remains in your hands. That is the complete examination of this case. That is how the method stays consistent for we the people. That concludes measuring the record here at the School of Grok. I'm sorry. I'm still a little steamed. I got to get my eyesight back. That concludes measuring the record here at the School of Grok. We hope that you can take from this episode the facts and what is necessary to be done to move forward and make America great again. Even if he has lost his way or has hidden agendas, we the people most definitely can rise to the occasion and prove once more how and why this country was founded and what it means to be an American for America. Until next time, stay safe. Watch out for one another. Let me find that button. Good night. God bless. Don't worry. We got this. And remember, every word you use, you choose. Love you. Mean it.